Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to discuss with you how I incorporate languages in my very busy life. Like I said before, I will be a full-time student come January, as well as right now I'm a full-time worker, and I also have a part-time job, which means I work 6 out of the 7 days of the week, giving me one day to really have downtime, but even then I am still very busy on that day. So like I said, incorporating languages in my life has proven to be very difficult, but nonetheless a very obtainable goal. So one of the first things that I like to do is I like to listen to podcasts on my way to work or when I'm on a break or something like this. Usually when I'm looking for podcasts, it depends on what level I am in and what language I'm trying to speak. So if I'm looking for a podcast in Chinese, I'd aim for something higher because I'm a little bit familiar in that language. But since I'm not familiar in Turkish, I'll look for something that is beginner friendly. So teaching you how to say hello, how are you? Basic introductions, my name, my age, where I come from, and how to ask those different people the same questions that I am answering as well. So like I said, depending on, what level and how familiar I am in a language is really dependent on what I'm looking for. And when I'm trying to find a podcast, I also search for people that post, consistently and have posted for a long period of time, because I don't like, for me personally, jumping all over the place with different resources. I like to stick to one thing over a long period of time. So that way my search for finding resources doesn't have to consistently be a thing. Like I'll have a resource that is dependable on my language learning journey. Another thing that I like to do, which I like to do regardless of whatever language I'm learning, is listen to music in whatever language I am aiming to learn. But even despite this, I still listen to music in foreign languages, even though I'm not trying to learn it. But for all intensive purposes, we're just going to discuss why you should learn or listen to music in the language that you are trying to learn. Even though the language comes across as very poetic, hear me out, I still think that you can literally utilize the vocabulary that they are speaking to you or singing to you. Maybe if you are searching for individual words because you're in some sort of plateau, I would still recommend listening to the music. And also it helps you with your comprehension, being able to listen and understand a language, song or spoken in different frequencies. So like a slow song, a fast song, things of this matter. Another thing that I like to do is I like to read short stories or listen to short stories. So I'll either buy a physical copy of the book, which are here are two examples of physical copies. Or I'll search on YouTube short stories in whatever language I'm trying to learn. Even though that, again, the language may come across as super formal, I still think the grammar patterns utilized in short stories as well as vocabulary can be used to take notes on and store in your memory for future use when you're trying to build, your own sentences or trying to speak to yourself. You can think back on things that you've learned through like short stories or podcasts or music and stuff like that. So even though, like I said, the language may come across as super formal, it can still be utilized in your daily speech. So back to looking up short stories on YouTube. With this, if you happen to find short stories in the language you're looking for, you can change the different frequencies in which the language is being spoken. So you can turn up the speed on how fast the language is being spoken in the short story. That way you're just training your ears to be able to listen and comprehend the language at different speeds. So you may speak to a native speaker that speaks slower than somebody else you may encounter. So either way, you're passively training your ears to be able to encounter whatever speed the language is being spoken to you. So I think that is very helpful, and it's proven to be very helpful for me. Another thing that I like to do is I like to watch TV shows in the language I'm trying to learn. So I used to watch C-dramas a lot. I've come across Turkish dramas on YouTube, as well as I have watched Spanish TV shows on Netflix. And, at first you're not going to understand anything that they're saying or the plot even if you don't have English subtitles. But after a while, you'll be able to take off the subtitles and, just get a general idea of what's going on. this also trains your ability to, like I said, listen and comprehend at different speakers' paces. So like one character may speak super slow, another character may speak super fast. And then you can also gauge in the different, their facial behaviors and stuff like that. So like if they're mad, the language sounds like this and their face looks like this. So different parts of speech and different like methods of communication, like the physical part behind the language and stuff like that, I think is very helpful for me to pick up on. It's just, like I said, the different parts of communication. So you're hearing it verbally, you're seeing it physically and stuff like that. It's all very helpful to your language learning and being able to pick up on those different parts of communication. So like English has sarcasm. Is there like being able to like see it or hear it over like a podcast versus being able to like see the person's facial expressions and things like that. So those are just different kinds of things that I think you can benefit from watching and pick up on from watching like TV shows and stuff like that in the language that you were trying to shoot for. Another thing that I like to do is I like to speak to myself. So once I gather enough vocab and have basic grammar patterns, I'll just like, if I'm doing like a house chore, if I'm working, or sometimes I'll even do it internally, like I'll think about it. Just trying to practice putting together sentences and trying to remember vocab and just having conversations with myself, I think has proven to be very helpful for me. Like I used to walk up to my siblings and speak to them in the language that I'm learning, and they would kind of get annoyed at it, but for me it's very helpful because I'm training myself to be able to speak the language instead of like speaking it very slow. If I'm continuing to speak it daily, my speed will eventually pick up. So like I said, practicing to speak it, or even just doing conversations in your head to remember, old vocab, or, play different scenarios in your head and stuff like that. How would I respond if a native speaker asked me this? I think it's just very helpful, and that's just one of my, quote unquote secret tools that I use when I'm trying to learn a language. I hope this proved to be very helpful to you, and I hope you can utilize some of the ideas that I have in your language learning journey. I will be posting more videos in the future when I have time. Like I said, I'm very, very busy. I'm trying to post every 2 days, but I don't know if that's going to be possible every single time to be consistently posting every 2 days. But either way, I hope whatever I post has or brings some sort of helpfulness to your language learning journey or whatever passion you may have. Have a nice day.